Welcome to my channel. Imagine for a moment that learning English doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to feel boring, slow, or stressful. Maybe you've been trying to learn English for months, even years. Maybe you've used books, apps, classes, and grammar exercises. Maybe you've memorized long vocabulary lists, studied verb tenses, passed tests, and still, when it's time to speak, your mind goes blank. You forget the words. You translate in your head. You feel nervous, stuck, or even shy. But what if I told you that it's not your fault? What if the way you've been learning is the problem, not you? You see, most people try to learn English the way we learn school subjects, like math or science. They try to study it with the eyes, with textbooks, with writing, with grammar. But English is not just a subject. It's a language. It's something we use with people. We feel it. We hear it. We speak it. Language lives in the body, not in the test. And the truth is, there's a much better way to learn. A way that helps you learn faster, understand more, and actually speak English with confidence, without memorizing hundreds of grammar rules, without making long vocabulary lists, without translating in your head every time you talk. In this video, I want to show you how. Not just what to learn, but how to learn it. The method, the steps, the way that works. Slowly, simply, clearly. The way your brain is designed to learn language. So if you feel tired of studying English and still not improving, if you feel confused, if you feel stuck, this video is for you. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need a big vocabulary. You just need the right approach, step by step. You can do this. You can speak English. And it all starts now. Chapter 1. Start with the ears, not the eyes. Let's begin with something most people get wrong. When many people start learning English, they open a book. They read grammar rules. They copy vocabulary words. They fill notebooks. They study with the eyes. But let's stop for a moment and ask, is that how humans really learn language? Think about a baby. A baby doesn't study grammar. A baby doesn't take notes. A baby listens. Every day, every hour, babies hear the voices of their parents, the sounds of the world, the music of language. They listen for many months before they say even one word. And yet, when they begin to speak, they don't need to translate. They don't need to remember the rule for the past tense. They just speak, naturally, slowly, step by step. So why don't we learn English like that? Why do we try to force the brain to do something it was never built to do, memorizing rules and vocabulary lists like math formulas? The truth is, your brain already knows how to learn a language. You just need to give it the right input. That input is listening. Listening is the first skill, the deep skill, the one that builds the others. When you listen every day, your brain begins to feel the rhythm of English. You begin to hear the music, the rise and fall, the stress, the pauses, the flow of real conversation. You don't just know English, you feel it. But not just any listening. You must listen to things you understand. Easy English, daily English, repeated English. For beginners, podcasts for learners, simple YouTube videos, short audiobooks, and even children's shows are perfect. At first, it may feel slow. You may feel you understand very little. That's okay. That's normal. Don't stop. Listen every day, even for just 15 minutes. And here's something strange but powerful. It's good to listen to the same audio again and again. Your brain needs repetition. Repetition is not boring. It's how your mind builds strong language habits. You will start to hear words and phrases without thinking. They will come alive inside you. At first, you can use subtitles to help. That's okay. But after a while, try to remove them. Try to let your ears do the work. Don't worry about catching every word. Focus on the feeling, the meaning, the emotion. Trust your brain. It is smarter than you think. And now, let me tell you a short story. There was a student from Brazil. He didn't speak English at all. He didn't like books. He didn't like grammar. But he loved cartoons. So every day for 1 year, he watched English cartoons, the same episodes again and again, with subtitles, then without. He didn't understand everything. He just kept watching. After 1 year, he joined an online English group, and guess what? He spoke fluently. He didn't translate. He didn't hesitate. He didn't even know many grammar terms, but he could understand and speak clearly. Why? Because he trained his ears first. And now, you can do the same. This is where your journey begins, not with the eyes, but with the ears. Chapter 2. Speak before you're ready. Now it's time to focus on speaking English. And this is where many learners feel afraid or unsure. They often say, I will start speaking only when I feel ready. But this way of thinking holds you back from making real progress. It's like saying, I will swim only when I already know how to swim. Of course, nobody learns swimming by waiting to feel ready. Instead, you jump into the water and start moving your arms and legs, even if you don't know everything at first, and even if you feel uncomfortable. Speaking a new language works the same way, because it is a skill you develop by practicing it again and again, not by waiting for the perfect moment or for your grammar to be flawless. The truth is, the best way to get better at speaking English is to speak as much as you can. Right now, even if you're alone, even if you make mistakes, and even if you feel shy or nervous. In this chapter, I want to show you how to start speaking English today with simple methods that anyone can use at home. First, there is a powerful technique called shadowing. Shadowing means listening carefully to someone speaking English and then immediately repeating what you hear out loud. This might feel strange or difficult at first, but it trains your brain and mouth to work together to produce English sounds and rhythms naturally. For example, you might listen to a short sentence from a podcast, YouTube video, or audiobook, then say the sentence out loud right after you hear it. By copying the way native speakers talk, you get used to the sound of English, and your speaking skills improve little by little. Shadowing is not about being perfect. It's about practicing the flow and musical rhythm of English. When you do shadowing every day, your mouth learns how to move correctly, and your brain learns how to think in English instead of translating from your first language. Another very helpful practice is called self-talk. Self-talk means talking to yourself about simple things, like your daily routine, your feelings, or things you see around you. For example, you can say out loud, "I am making breakfast," "Today is sunny," or "I am feeling happy." It may feel strange or silly at first to talk to yourself, but this is one of the best ways to practice speaking without feeling shy or embarrassed because no one else is listening. Self-talk helps you use the words and phrases you already know and builds your confidence speaking English in a safe, private space. Even just 5 minutes of self-talk every day can help you get used to making English sounds and sentences. The key is to speak regularly and not worry about mistakes or grammar errors. Remember, the goal is to communicate, not to be perfect. Making mistakes is normal and necessary for learning. The more you practice speaking, the easier it becomes to find the right words and say them quickly. Now, you might think that speaking English alone is not enough, and you want to talk with other people. That's great. Talking with language partners or friends who speak English is very helpful because it gives you real conversations where you listen and respond. You can find language partners online for free through apps or websites, or you can join conversation groups in your community if available. But before you feel ready to talk with others, it's important to build your speaking habit by practicing alone first. When you feel comfortable speaking to yourself, it becomes easier to speak with others without fear. The biggest enemy of speaking practice is fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of sounding silly, or fear of not understanding. But here's a secret. Everyone makes mistakes when learning a language, even native speakers. What matters is that you try, you speak, and you keep going. Speaking English is like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. To help you start speaking today, I want to give you a small experiment to try right now. Look around your room or think about your day and say 3 simple sentences out loud in English. You can say things like, "I see a chair," "I am drinking water," or "It is a nice day." Don't worry if your sentences are short or if you make mistakes. The goal is just to speak. This small challenge gives you a little thrill, a tiny victory that shows you can do it. It builds your courage and helps you take the first step towards speaking more confidently. Over time, these small moments add up and make a big difference. You will find that speaking English feels easier, more natural, and even fun. Remember, the key message of this chapter is to speak before you feel ready, because waiting for the perfect time means you might never start. Jump in, make mistakes, talk to yourself, try shadowing, and practice a little every day. You will surprise yourself with how quickly you improve when you speak regularly. Speaking English is not about perfection. It's about communication, courage, and connection. So don't wait. Speak now, speak often, and enjoy the process of becoming a confident English speaker step by step. Chapter 3. Read what you love, not what you should. Reading is one of the most powerful tools you have to learn English, but it's important to understand that not all reading is the same. In this chapter, we will talk about reading in a way that is fun, easy, and natural. Reading that helps your English grow quietly and deeply without feeling like hard work or study. Many learners think that to improve their English, they need to read difficult books, newspapers, or textbooks. They believe they should read complicated stories or academic articles to learn faster. But this is actually a mistake that slows progress and kills motivation. Instead, what really works is reading what you love, what excites you, what makes you curious, and most importantly, what is easy enough for you to understand without frustration. When you read for pleasure, your brain is relaxed, and your eyes and mind can enjoy the flow of English. This is why easy books, stories, or articles written with simple words and grammar are much better than difficult books full of unknown words and complex sentences. Easy books help you understand most of the meaning without stopping to look up every word. It's okay if you don't understand every single word or sentence. The key is to understand the general meaning, the story, or the main ideas. When you do this, your brain learns new words and grammar naturally, without memorizing or studying. This is called comprehensible input, and it is the foundation of learning any language. Many research studies show that students who read a lot, even just easy and fun stories, learn faster and remember more than students who spend years studying grammar rules or doing vocabulary drills without reading much. One famous study found that students who read 1 million words in English became fluent much faster than those who only studied grammar or vocabulary lists. This is because reading gives you examples of how English is used naturally in real life, so you start to feel the patterns, rhythms, and flow of the language. You begin to see how words fit together, how sentences are built, and how ideas are connected. Reading helps your vocabulary grow because you see the same words many times in different stories and contexts, so you remember them without trying hard. It also helps your grammar, but without boring drills or rules, because you see grammar working in real sentences and stories. Over time, your brain collects this information and uses it when you speak or write. Another great thing about reading is that it improves your writing skills. When you read often, you absorb good sentence structures, expressions, and ways to explain ideas. This means that when you write in English, your sentences become clearer, more natural, and easier to understand. And all of this happens quietly, without you needing to study grammar books or write long lists of vocabulary. So, how do you find books that are just right for your level? The first step is to look for graded readers or easy readers. These are books specially made for language learners. They use simple words and grammar, but tell interesting stories. You can find many of these books online, in libraries or bookstores. Also, there are websites and apps where you can find free easy books or short stories with audio, so you can listen and read at the same time. Another way is to choose topics that interest you, whether it's sports, travel, mystery, or animals, because reading about things you love keeps you motivated and curious. Don't worry if the book feels too easy or too short. The goal is to enjoy the story and keep reading every day. Building a daily reading habit is very important. try to read a little bit every day, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes. Consistency is the secret. When you read regularly, you create a habit that your brain loves. It begins to expect English and look for meaning naturally. You don't have to read a whole book in one day or even 1 week. Just reading a few pages or a short story regularly is enough to improve your English step by step. Now, here is a powerful experiment for you. In this moment, I want you to try reading one short story in English. It can be a story you find online or a very short book or article about a topic you like. Don't worry about understanding every word or sentence. Instead, focus on enjoying the story, understanding the main idea, and feeling the flow of English. As you read, you might notice new words or sentences that surprise you or feel beautiful. You might feel a little magic happening, the magic of learning English naturally, without pressure. This small experiment creates what I call a spike, a moment when you see real progress and feel excited to keep going. Quick wins like this are very important because they keep your motivation high and remind you that learning English can be fun and rewarding. So remember, reading what you love is better than reading what you think you should. Choose easy, interesting stories, read a little every day, and enjoy the process of learning English without stress. Your English will grow silently and powerfully, and soon you will see the results in your speaking, writing, and understanding. This chapter shows that reading is not boring or difficult. It is one of the most joyful and effective ways to become fluent in English. Now go find a short story and try reading it right now. Feel the magic for yourself. Chapter 4. Don't learn words. Live with them. Most students think that learning English means memorizing long lists of vocabulary words, writing them down, repeating them over and over, and then forgetting them soon after. This is the way many people have been taught, but it is one of the least effective ways to really learn new words. In this chapter, we change that idea completely and focus on how to live with English words instead of just studying them. Real learning happens when words become part of your life, part of your thoughts, and part of your daily experiences. Imagine how babies learn their first language. They do not sit and memorize word lists. They hear words in real conversations, stories, and daily situations. They see words connected to actions, feelings, and objects around them. They repeat words naturally because they need to use them to express themselves and understand others. You can learn English words in the same way, by making words live in your daily life and your mind. One of the most important ideas I want to share is the 3 times rule. This means that to remember a new word well, you need to see or hear it at least 3 times in different meaningful contexts. It is not enough to see a word once or twice, especially if it is just in a list or a dictionary. But when you meet the word in a story, in a conversation, and in an article, your brain begins to understand the word's meaning, how it is used, and how it connects to other words. This repetition in real situations makes the word stick in your memory much better than simple memorization. Another powerful trick is learning words in word families. This means that instead of learning single words alone, you learn groups of related words that come from the same root. For example, if you learn the word happy, also learn happiness, unhappy, happily, and unhappiness. These related words help you understand how words change and connect, and they make it easier to guess meanings when you see new words. Learning word families saves time and helps you use English more naturally because you already know many forms of a word instead of just one. But learning words is not just about seeing them. It is also about using them. There is a saying, use it or lose it. If you learn new words but never use them in speaking or writing, you will forget them quickly. To make words part of your life, you need to practice using them. You can do this by making sentences with new words, talking to yourself about your day using those words, or writing short paragraphs or stories. When you use words actively, your brain connects the word with your thoughts and experiences, and the word becomes alive in your mind. This is how you move from knowing a word to really owning it. Another important lesson is quality over quantity. Many students believe that learning 50 or 100 new words every day is the key to success. But learning a large number of words badly, without real understanding, without seeing them in context, and without using them, wastes time and leads to frustration. Instead, it is better to learn 5 words well, deeply, and with confidence. 5 words that you know how to use in sentences. 5 words that you have seen in stories or conversations. And 5 words that you are ready to speak or write with. This focused learning builds strong foundations for your English and helps you remember words for a long time. Now, how do you find the words to learn? A great way is to pay attention to your daily life. Listen to English in conversations, podcasts, or videos. Read stories or articles about things you enjoy. When you hear or read a word several times, that is a good word to learn. Also, think about words that describe your daily activities, feelings, or environment. Words become more meaningful and easier to learn when they connect to your life. At the end of this chapter, I want to give you an activity that helps you live with words today. This activity is simple, but very powerful. First, pick 5 new English words that you noticed during your day. These can be words you heard, read, or wanted to say, but didn't know. Then, make 5 different sentences for each of these words. Try to use different ideas for each sentence. For example, if your word is happy, you can say, I feel happy today. She looks happy. The happy dog runs fast. Happy people smile a lot. And I want to be happy every day. This exercise helps you practice new words actively and connect them to many ideas. It also gives your brain many chances to remember the words well. When you do this regularly, your vocabulary grows naturally and confidently. This small challenge keeps your brain thinking about English words and makes learning more enjoyable. It also creates a feeling of achievement, a spike, which motivates you to keep learning smarter and better. So remember, don't waste time memorizing long lists of words without context or use. Instead, live with English words. See them in stories and real life. Use the 3 times rule to remember them. Learn word families to save time. Use the words often in speaking and writing. Focus on learning fewer words well instead of many words badly. By changing how you learn words, you will see faster progress and enjoy learning English more than ever before. Chapter 5. Make grammar your friend, not your boss. Grammar often feels like a huge, scary wall that blocks many students from speaking and writing English well. It feels full of confusing rules, exceptions, and boring exercises. Most students see grammar as a boss they must obey perfectly, or they will fail. But what if I told you grammar doesn't have to be a boss? What if grammar could be your friend, a helpful tool you use when you want, without pressure or fear? In this chapter, we change how you think about grammar completely. Grammar is not a monster or a test to pass. It is simply the shape or structure of English sentences, like the frame of a house or the skeleton of your body. Just like you don't have to memorize the shape of your skeleton to walk or run, you don't need to memorize all grammar rules to speak English. The more you listen, read, and experience English, the more your brain naturally understands this shape. You develop what we call grammar sense, a feeling inside you that tells you if a sentence sounds right or wrong. This happens without formal study, just like babies learn their first language. So, how do you build this grammar sense? It starts with something called noticing. Noticing means paying attention to how English speakers use grammar in real life, without pressure to remember or explain the rules. When you watch a video, listen to a podcast, or read a story, try to notice patterns in how sentences are made. For example, you might notice that when people talk about yesterday, they often use the word did or the past tense of verbs like went or saw. Or you might notice that when someone asks a question, the verb often comes before the subject like, are you happy? Instead of, you are happy. Noticing is like training your brain to see the shape of sentences naturally. The key is not to force yourself to learn grammar rules by heart, but to see how grammar works in real English you hear or read every day. This makes learning grammar much easier and less stressful. Another very important idea in this chapter is using grammar as a tool, not as a test. Many students feel scared of grammar because they think they must know every rule perfectly before speaking or writing. This creates a lot of fear and stops them from trying. But grammar is a tool to help you communicate clearly, not a test you must pass before you talk. If you don't remember the rule, that's okay. Use your feeling and guess. For example, if you want to say, he go to school, you might guess it is wrong, and say, he goes to school. This guess comes from your grammar sense growing inside you. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake helps you learn and improve. The more you use grammar as a tool, the more natural it becomes, and the less scary it feels. You will start to feel more confident, and speaking English will become easier and more fun. Another reason grammar becomes easier is because of reading. Kids who read a lot in English, even without studying grammar, become much better at grammar naturally. When you read stories or articles, you see many examples of correct sentences again and again. This repeated exposure helps your brain understand the rules without any boring grammar lessons. That's why reading is so powerful for grammar learning. So if you don't like grammar rules, don't worry. Focus on reading and listening to English you enjoy. Let your brain notice patterns at its own pace. This will help you build grammar sense and use grammar correctly without stress. Many students feel hopeless when they hear grammar. But after this chapter, you will realize grammar is not your enemy. It is your friend that helps you speak and write clearly. You are better at grammar than you think. You just need to trust yourself and your brain's natural ability to learn. To end this chapter, try a simple experiment. When you listen to a conversation or read a story in English, pick one sentence and ask yourself, what do I notice about this sentence? How is it different from my language? What small pattern do I see? It could be a tense, a question form, or a word order. Don't try to remember the rule, just enjoy noticing. This little practice trains your brain and builds your grammar sense without pressure. Over time, you will see how much easier grammar feels and how much more confident you become. Grammar is no longer a boss, but a helpful tool, and learning English becomes more joyful. Remember, the secret is not to study grammar like a list of rules, but to notice and use grammar naturally through listening, reading, and speaking. Your brain is already working hard, trust it, and grammar will become your friend. Chapter 6. Make English part of your life. Now that we have learned about listening, speaking, reading, vocabulary, and grammar, it is time to bring everything together and make English a real part of your daily life. This chapter is about building a simple, easy, and stress-free system that helps you learn English every day without feeling overwhelmed. The secret to success in learning any language is small habits, little actions you do regularly that add up over time. You don't need to study for hours or memorize long lists. Instead, you create a mini English world around you that helps you learn naturally, like a baby learning their first language. First, let's talk about 5 key habits that you can start today. These habits take only a few minutes each, but if you do them every day, your English will grow faster than you imagine. The first habit is 10 minutes of listening. Listening is the foundation of language learning. When you listen, your brain absorbs the sounds, rhythm, and patterns of English. It is like filling your mind with English music and stories. You can listen to podcasts, songs, audiobooks, or watch videos in English. The important thing is to listen to something you enjoy, something interesting and fun. You don't have to understand every word. The goal is to get used to hearing English every day. The second habit is 5 minutes of speaking. Speaking can be scary at first, but it is one of the most powerful ways to learn. You don't need a teacher or a language partner every time. You can practice speaking alone by talking to yourself about your day, repeating sentences you hear, or shadowing speakers. Even just 5 minutes a day can build your confidence and help your mouth learn to make English sounds. Remember, don't worry about mistakes. The goal is to get comfortable making English come out of your mouth. The third habit is 10 minutes of reading. Reading is like a secret weapon for English learners. It helps you learn new words, understand grammar without studying, and see how English works in real sentences. Choose easy books, stories, or articles that interest you. Reading for fun is the best way to improve. Don't stress if you don't understand everything. Just enjoy the story or topic, and your brain will learn naturally. The fourth habit is learning 5 words in context every day. Instead of memorizing long word lists, choose 5 words that you see or hear in your daily life and learn them deeply. Use the 3 times rule. See the word 3 times in different places to remember it. Learn the word family, related words that come from the same root, and use the words in your own sentences. This makes words real and alive in your mind. Learning a few words well is better than many words forgotten quickly. The 5th habit is the most important. Enjoy the process. Learning English should never feel like a boring task or a hard test. It is like learning a new song or a game. When you enjoy what you do, you learn faster and remember better. Find activities you love, celebrate small wins, and be kind to yourself. Some days will be easy, some days will be hard. That's normal. The secret is to keep going and do what feels fun. Now, how do you build this mini English world around you? One simple trick is to change the language on your phone or computer to English. This way, every time you use your device, you practice reading and understanding English. You can also try to think in English during your day. For example, when you see a dog, say dog in your mind. When you plan your day, think about it in English. This simple habit trains your brain to use English naturally. You can also add English to your daily tasks. When you cook, name the ingredients in English. When you clean, talk about what you do in English. When you travel, listen to English music or podcasts in the car. These little changes make English a natural part of your life without extra effort. Motivation is very important. It is normal to feel tired or lose interest sometimes. The key is to stay excited by focusing on your progress, not just your goals. Celebrate the small improvements. Understanding a sentence, speaking a new phrase, finishing a book chapter. These moments show you that your English is growing every day. Remember, motivation comes from doing things you enjoy. If one method feels boring, try another. Keep exploring until you find what makes you happy. Learning English is not about memorizing rules or studying hard. It is about living with the language, just like learning a song. You don't learn a song by reading sheet music all day. You listen, sing along, and enjoy the music. Your brain learns the melody naturally. English works the same way. When you listen, speak, read, and use words every day, your English grows quietly and powerfully. This chapter ends with an important message for you. Your English is already growing. Every step you take, even small ones, brings you closer to fluency. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect teacher. Start now with small habits, enjoy the journey, and trust your brain's natural ability to learn. The path to English fluency is made of daily moments filled with curiosity, fun, and small victories. You have all the tools and knowledge from this series to build your English world. Now it is your turn to live with English every day, make it your friend, and watch yourself grow. Remember, learning English is not a race. It is a journey, a beautiful, exciting, and rewarding journey that you are already on. If you learned something today and you're ready to start your English journey the smart way, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and write a comment below. Tell me, what's the biggest problem in your English learning? I read all the comments, and I want to help you personally, so don't be shy. Remember, your journey starts today, and I'll be here to guide you every step of the way.